What's up, everyone? This is Andre from Indie Arts Midwest, and in this video, as you can see, I'm using the virtual scene viewer so that I can basically get an idea on how I want to plan out this entire setup. And as you can see, I have a few scene elements here, and I have my main character selected. If we pan out, we can see Tokyo. We're just on a random tall building. I think one of the taller buildings in this particular region, and I chose it based on a set direction that I kind of wanted the vehicle to travel. So um, that way, somewhere that way. One thing I am going to fix that we can see from here is you can see from at ground level those extrusions are actually road points. So I'm going to get rid of those or bring them down, or maybe I could find a way to use them as a I don't even know. I'm not really sure. I mean, I could maybe, I can my blah, 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 blah. I can maybe use an array with some road assets or something like that. I'm not really sure, but either way, you're probably wondering what's the deal with the scale, and that has a lot to do with the size of the city. I'm pretty sure I could have made this all work somehow, but I ended up having to scale the city up quite a bit. Um, I don't know. It was just kind of a weird combination of the scale of my character versus the scale of what's going on here. So I'm not really sure. Everything's still really small. If I continue to try to keep scaling everything up, it's just going to go really bad fast. So this is the most reasonable thing I could come up with, considering that I can have the draw distance go as far as 30,000 and beyond if I wanted to, but I kept it at 30,000. So pretty much everything that the cameras can see and whatnot is only at 20,000. So I wanted to have a weird range. And honestly, I'm not surprised by this because the same thing happened when I was setting up the Tron scene, but in reverse. So with that, I had the scene set up to basically Unreal scale, so everything was realistic. And for some reason, I was able to move around and operate just fine in that. But in this, it's just kind of I was just running with it and just let things be what they are. However, um, I have things scaled enough to the point where I can edit and zoom in as much as I need to for certain things. I will try my best to utilize the VR scene preview as well as hopefully if I can get some smooth animations just in solid mode as we're sitting here, then I'll just go with that just to get an idea on who's going to move where. And that's kind of another reason why I'm utilizing this is because I was looking at the scene. Obviously, there's no real doors that we can see where one can enter and exit, but I'm pretty sure it would be like over there or over here or something like that. So I'm going to base a lot of what the camera can see um, on this region here on this helipad or just beyond. So I may utilize maybe I guess that might be too close for any crew members that might be in the area. So probably like back here or something like that, where they're kind of away from the jets and whatnot. Um, and I know I'm thinking way too realistic, but I'm just trying to get that, to kind of have some sense of realism. So I feel like maybe even back here might be a safe bet. Um, yeah, something like that. So I'll maybe use this square here as my um, hangar crew work zone, I guess, or one of the work zones. I also wanted to have, let's see, some stuff going on back here, but not much. Maybe just some equipment or whatever in the background, just to kind of give them a little more depth to the scene and whatnot. Um, I'm gonna have the fan spinning at a low pace, and I'll do it the way that one would usually set up a propeller for. So what I mean by that is, so you would just use drivers and tell it to basically just spin at one set speed based on the position of an empty at zero, I believe. 000 XYZ. And in doing that, if you move it forward or back to a set amount, then it will increase or decrease the speed. So that is just one of the features I'd like to add. It already has a emissive line system. All these lines that you see here are actually emissive. Um, and they're fairly low, so I'll probably just leave that alone. Though I did have to put a point light like in this area here just to get enough backlighting for my character for some of the renders that I'm working on, just for testing. Um, so I'll have to look into what can be done with that because like how do you even light a place like this? You know, it, it's, I mean, obviously it's to scale because this is how I imported it, and I've scaled all of these assets just within this area outside of my characters and those helmets as is. So together, and then I scaled in that, and that was not before scaling it up to the city. And I'm guessing that's part of why everything is so big. Now that I'm thinking about it, is because I did want to have a proper. I'll use that word in quotation marks included, um, to a height that I feel like is generally realistic. And I know that's, it's a factor that would have come up eventually anyway. Um, so me having to scale things up in order to get to a point where I felt like, okay, if the character did jump off this building, yeah, it would be a long, fat, well, it wouldn't be long, but it would be, it seems visually accurate from my perspective. And that's what I really like about using the VR scene preview. In fact, um, I think flying around the city prior to really helped me subconsciously just um, set it all up the way that scale wise. Either way, this was going to come up because um, the takeoff. I mean, realistically, I could have just I really thought about doing a just a equirectangular render of the surrounding area, like this rooftop section. And I still might do it, but I still at least have a sense of scale proper, and that'll save me a lot of render time. But literally just doing a 360 render and then animating a camera, just doing the exact same flight path as the ship, and then we just jump. I would just render all that out. There would be no ship or anything like that within the render. It would just, why am I not going anywhere? That's so weird. Yeah, let's go. And to answer any questions, the reason why it's so jittery in the background, it has to do with the minimum draw distance. If I go too low, then um, like you can get it to stop, but it's also an issue of scale. So that's another reason why everything is a little bit wonky. But I wanted to have this visual option, and that's just from a VR's perspective because VR's that's from a VR perspective because being able to look around like this really helps. And I know, and it's not bogging my computer down terribly either. The file size isn't that big. Um, However, I will point out that the moment I joined all of the buildings and the roads and the ground together, that's when my computer started getting a little weird as far as taking a little longer on the saves and whatnot. And what is that tall thing? And I don't know. I not entirely sure why joining them together created such an issue, but it's kind of too late now. I can't just easily separate them. I mean, I could maybe select the buildings and separate those from the ground, but the road pieces, I'm not really sure what material those are. They didn't really specify, so and I can't reach that. Oh, I can. Oh, wow. This is so cool, isn't it? We have to go up there. I mean, we just do. I don't know how long it's going to take, though. Oh, no, don't go inside. Oh, man. This is really awkward. Oh, boy. I don't like going inside of geometry. It just feels weird. So yes, it's jittery. I know. But as far as being able to view it all in one shot via VR headset, I think it's totally worth it. So if that's the building where we start, I'm thinking because realistically, I also chose a central building so that if even if I wanted to exit from head in what seems to be that direction, I could also circle around and then go the opposite if I wanted to. So now it just comes down to what area do I feel like would represent the area similar to the movie. So yeah, I got some decisions to make. It's pretty much going to be any of the outskirts. The plan was just for have it travel basically from this direction. If we were talking from a north south, um, east west, then we would have them traveling south straight to this area here. That was the plan. But now that I'm back here, I now realize I could have them travel somewhat south and circle around, and then travel, over there if I wanted to. And that's why it was so jittery. I was just so far away from other buildings that it was having trouble loading. That particular structure is that tall. But yeah, that's what I was talking about with the roads. But isn't this cool? This is very helpful for coming up with ideas. Like, you're when you're let's wanted to go over there. All right. Yeah, this is a good example. I'm glad I did that. That was totally on purpose. So this is kind of, I know it might be possibly bad practice to set up your scenes this way, have them so large. I'm not really sure. Everybody has their own techniques, but the whole thing that I really appreciate about VR is being able to do this. This is really important to me as one who likes to set up these scenes and come up with all kind of cool renders and animations and whatnot. But this is important, like being able to at least stand in the scene like this, even if it's just blocky and just look around. Okay, I'm the player. Like what's going on? Oh, I can see the floor level. Get a little distracted there. But yeah, I'm the player. I'm here on this level. What is going on around me? Like how am I interpreting the environment that I'm looking at? And so like that's why I really like um, having this as an option for viewing scenes. It does need to be tweaked though. It'd be nice to get an update on the VR scene preview though. Uh, yeah, this is awesome, right? Like in the building that we started is somewhere. I can't see the. It's like a little black dot. Yeah, I can't find it. Yeah, I have no idea. Oh, there it is. Aha, Will Smith. Aha, yeah, yeah. And we're back. And so another thing that I wanted to point out too, at least while I got here, is that I'm gonna have these in an array. So I was thinking maybe 5 or 6 of these lined up would look pretty cool. It's not like I have to design the whole thing, but that did have me thinking like um, perhaps, and I don't know if this is a solid technique I should use or not, but I'm just saying that perhaps I should duplicate this building at this scale and bring in a custom quotation marks. I don't have hands, but a custom sci-fi esque design building. I don't know. I mean, I could watch this. I could look into the show and see what the building is shaped like. I really could, and I probably should. Maybe I will. I don't know. But either way, I could just bring in any kind of building, and then at least that'll have the flyaway seem really awesome from this particular building. It'll be only one out of all of these that um, will have a functional looking structure on the exterior. No floors or anything. That of course it's just just a nice looking building. But the whole point is that it'll be the one, at least, so that when we do the flyaway, we'll get some nice. And I have a sky that I would like to bring in, but everything's just so the scene is just so big. So I don't know, man. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't know. So we'll see. I'll have to look into it. All right. So that is an update on my scene. Um, my current plans, as far as today goes, I was going to duplicate one more of this guy. So I have two pilots. Um, let's see, one more of this guy, two guards, just one standing at the back on either side. And then I was gonna do more crewmen, but I don't know if that's gonna be necessary. So what I'll probably do is I'll just have these two guys waiting outside for the character to come up, and then when they do, they'll you know he'll he'll walk up, and then they'll walk in behind him. They'll go sit on the further seats, deeper into the chopper, so that they're kind of just in the background. I'll probably have them offset so they're not sitting perfectly across from each other. I mean, they might know each other, but I don't think it'd really be necessary for them to sit right across from each other. But so I'll probably have one of them sit here, and I'll have the other one sit here. And then I'll have my character standing on either side. I haven't really decided which side. I need to rewatch that scene. I love that movie. But anyway, just to see. And I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter. You know what? I won't rewatch. I'm just gonna put my character on the side that seems more appealing. But I also thought it would be cool to utilize these as well. So I was gonna separate this so that it could, twist around. And then of course, that's why I was looking at that part first. This doesn't need to move. This needs to move. The other side needs to move. And this ship actually has several cameras that could be movable. So I was gonna, make all of them not necessarily. I'm using the word functional, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say when I say that. There's three in front. I don't know if I'll need all three. We'll see. I think that might be overkill. If it gets to that point, then it's like, okay, I need to use this asset in other things at that point because I've already like beefed it up to the point where it wouldn't make any sense to not do that. So I would have to like bring it into Unreal Engine or something like that just because reasons. So like I said, there are just several cameras, and so I was gonna do is just put some cameras, attach cameras to the ship via parenting, and then I could use them on the flight path there, and when they get to the location, I can also use them depending on certain renderings that I'll do. So what I mean, like I'll do some. It won't just be looking at like a thing through the camera because that would just be like super basic. So instead, I want to have like some thermal imaging, that kind of stuff. Just some unique image renders that I can use in the animations for multi-purpose on the cameras. And then at least having them in place gives a sense of realism in terms of like, okay, so it's not as stationary as any other camera that I would normally put into a scene, like the one that allowed me to spawn this VR camera on this particular location. So, given that they're on the ship, that means they can have a set zoom and everything like that. I'll have to take that into consideration. And being that the front one is the largest camera, it's going to have better quality than any of the other ones on the ship. So, just little things that I want to point out and utilize in the final project. Okay, the rear one also is equally as big as the front camera. So, okay, I will keep that in mind. And yeah, I don't really see too many movable parts, which is good for me. Mainly just the cameras, the engines, um, and the rear door. Let's see. So I also mentioned the crew, so I may duplicate one more time, and then have three crew members, which will have their equipment here, and then just some random background stuff over there. Not too far back, because I do like the fan spinning in the background. I mean, it's kind of its own focal point, obviously. So I would say pretty much from this point on, I don't really need to have anything. But from here up, it's okay to have some stuff. But obviously, the equipment that's around this area shouldn't be able to blow away. So that'll be something that I'll keep in mind. But either way, so yeah, this is why it's important to have these kind of scene setups. And yes, I could have done it with the regular scene preview, but it's fun doing it like this, isn't it? Right. So I actually came up with a lot more ideas that I can use as tangible information because I'm recording this than I would otherwise. And and even though I've, you know, had a couple of verbal flops, mostly that have been edited out. Um, yeah, that was I still it helps like it clears your mind a bit when you're in the scene and you can look around and figure things out on the fly. So, I guess one last thing is I downloaded these from Sketchfab and I selected these particular five um, just for the additional characters. Mine will not have a helmet. So this one is for the pilots, and I haven't really decided what the other ones we're gonna wear, but I figured these might work for the hmm, like these will be the guards, and these will be well, I guess no, because see, this is where it gets a little tough. Okay, so at least these will be the guards, and what were the other two guys? The so I had main pilot because he doesn't have one. Pilot officers crew. So maybe guards. Well, they're not really guards. I'm just gonna call them officers, and then the crew. So I already have them. I don't need to duplicate anymore. So realistically, I have a total of one, three, five, eight total people that will be on scene, and hopefully that doesn't bog things down too much. Another thing that I was gonna do is like when their animations play, I'm only gonna have them run for as long as they're seen on camera. If they're not on camera, then I'll just like duplicate. So if the camera has happens to be looking from this way for any reason, like the crew members or whatever, I'm not sure what else could be going on in this scene. Perhaps I could get some input on that. But anyway, then I could only set up the animation to run while so like the ship's flying away, right? Right, and the guys are going to be moving, but I mean, like once you get only so far, it doesn't really matter too much, and then by then I should have stopped the animation anyway because then we are moving on to more interesting information around the city. So um just something I'll keep in mind. I mean, I mean, I didn't really care to track down the exact location of where the building takes place. I mean, I could. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. But either way, that's a lot of city to cover. You just using a Sketchfab Tokyo download and then having to like reconstruct it using map data. And I'm not trying to do all that stuff, man. I just put it on top of a tall building and we're going to fly from point A to point B. So, um, yeah, either way, I could have the animations only start and stop at certain points. That way I can save on render time. So if they're not moving, I'm thinking that'll speed up my render times as well, because it's not concerned about things that it can't even see. So that's another thing. Obviously, this is going to be closed, but I think when we get close to location, that's when I'll have that door open. Um, yeah, and perhaps I don't know. Perhaps I'll do like I can't recall, but maybe we'll do like a inside, a couple of renders inside. Reloading. I'll have my character sit like right here. But I may get rid of these two chairs. I think they're just a bit too close, and that still gives me 2, 4, 6. See, you know what I really should do? Now that I'm kind of looking at this from this angle, I could. I don't know if that's realistic. Sorry. I'm so much like my dad. I could select these and just pull this back, right? So just the seat portions so that they're closer to this back wall here because I didn't recognize that it was there until just now. And so that's just unutilized space that really could be like for storage or whatever. But it's not like I don't have this upper section here that I could use for storage. You could literally put a thing over each seat if you wanted to, or however you wanted to do it. And there's even space over here if you wanted to really, store things. So, you know, I can make this my own in my way. So no biggie. But just so that from a rendering perspective, then that gives me some space for the character to stand too. Because I mean, I was gonna have him stand here, and that still might work. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I won't move anything. I know these are just things I need to think about. But and once they end up in my notes, then it's concrete. So, that's pretty much where we're at. Um, but yeah. So this is the scene I'm working on. If you have any ideas that you'd like to convey, because I'm just doing this for fun. I mean, and yes, I know I want to make this video has been going on for a while, but yes, I'm just going to get back to the motorcycle stuff. I just really needed to take a break and just work on something fun, just something different and something that is more of a finalized product that's not just like a tutorial about a thing or um a short, little, I don't know, 120 frames or 250 frame. I'm trying to go for higher numbers of render times here. Well, not, whoa, whoa. I'm trying to go for longer animation times. So that's really what this is about. And I'm forcing myself to use Eevee even though I really want to use Cycle, but just the speed of Eevee is, allowing me to get ideas out as quickly as possible and also kind of prove to myself that I'm capable of doing the things that I've learned all these years. So I'm hoping that you're enjoying this content and I mean, obviously I'm having a great time making it. So I really appreciate all the views that I get on behalf of, um, you know, this partial hobby dream job for me. Um, and hope that I continue to get your views and, make good stuff that you guys want to see. So, that being said, don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. Okay. That was fun. I say that every time.